Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to one of my favorite shows that I do. It is Heroes Always Welcome, where we talk about veterans. We talk about veterans transitioning out of service back into the crazy corporate world and back into civilian life. We learn tips and tricks and insights from veterans on the show. And my co-host with the most is the one and only three-named Enrique Acosta Gonzalez. He's with Triad Leadership Solutions. And today's special guest is a dear friend, Tony Busby. He is an insurance agent, a veteran. He's also running for St. Cloud mayor, which we'll talk all about that. That brings a whole nother dimension to his world, I'm sure. So welcome to the show, gentlemen. How are you all today?
Doing great.
Fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Look, he's got the professional microphone going on. Enrique's got the ear things on. You guys sound so good. All right. So before we get into it, Enrique, for people who may or may not know, tell them all about you.
Well, thank you, Ted. Thank you, everybody that's listening. Tony, good to have you on the show today. I'm Enrique Acosta Gonzalez. I served 26 years in the Navy, retired, and I'm doing leadership development. So if you're having a challenge with imposter syndrome, you're afraid of leadership, or let's just say you lost your love for leadership, I'm the guy you need to talk to, but today is about Tony, so let's get in that.
Let's do it, Tony. We've been friends for quite a while. You're one of the good guys. I'm super excited to have you on the show. Super hard to get a hold of, though. I don't know. I keep trying to have a meeting with you, and I can't seem to get it done. You know that's just a play, Tony.
I know, because I just said that to you.
Welcome to the show, my friend. Tell us about you. Give us a little 411 on your background.
Well, my background is I grew up in Western Massachusetts, extremely poor, and joined the military at the age of 17 through the split option program. Recruiter drove 300 miles to get my parents' signatures. And that was back in 2002. And did a combat tour in 2004 through 2005. Involved in the second siege of Fallujah in the Army, doing transportation and military police work. Ended up coming home, moved to Florida, and had a trucking company for a little while. Then I got into insurance, and now I'm dipping my toe into politics after I spent the last few years working with several nonprofits to include FAVOB, which is the Florida Association of Veteran-Owned Businesses. I was the vice chair for the last 2 years. I stepped down on the elections for this year so I could focus on my mayoral race. And I've also done a lot of work with Camaraderie Foundation, which is all about the mental health of veterans and their families.
Let's talk about the mental health part. Let's talk about the transition. One of the things that we love to do on the show is to give tools, ideas, tips, insights for veterans who are either transitioning out and having a difficult time, have transitioned out and back into civilian life and are struggling with that, are in the corporate world and realize that the military world doesn't equate to the corporate world, so they're struggling. Talk about your journey, because you got out and then you said that you got into trucking. So talk a little bit about when you got out. Was it easy? Did you have resources? Did you know what you wanted to do?
I was medically discharged in 2008 because of injuries I sustained in combat. And my transition was terrible. It was basically, here's your pink slip, no real debrief, go back into the world of the civilians. And, now, as I've been an advocate for the last few years for veterans on like an actual like leadership tiered position, because I've always advocated. It's just I didn't know where to find resources to where I wasn't the only one trying to advocate. So I ended up getting involved in FAVOB thanks to Trish Murphy, who is the current state chair, and I love that woman. And so it's just the resources today are so much more. For me, it was like I got out, I got thrown into the civilian world, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. I don't know who to talk to. I had trouble holding a job. because civilians do not work like military people do. And, you know, when you're in the military, you get used to that kind of almost roughneck type of life where, you know, you give an order to a subordinate and it happens. You receive an order from somebody above you in the chain of command and you do it. You know, civilian world, it's not like that. You tell somebody to do something, in a lot of cases, they'll just be like, whatever. So especially nowadays, so super hard transition. And because I couldn't hold a job for very long, because I just had those kinds of personality conflicts, I ended up opening my own company and was pretty successful at it because I realized I knew how to lead. And I guess I just wasn't a very good follower when it came to the civilian aspect of life.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Enrique.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, leadership and that conflict between knowing how to follow, when to follow, and when to lead. A big dynamic in that exchange. But military folks come out with a huge amount of leadership experience. Typically, they fall into companies and they see the lack thereof. So what was the biggest difference that you saw from coming from the military to civilian in the leadership realm?
Well, in the leadership aspect of it, the leaders were not always the best person suited for the job. They didn't, I hate to say it like this, but when you look at some of the leaders, you know, in the military, it's not so much a political game where, you know somebody, so you get promoted. You're promoted based on merit, based on experience, based on, you know, your ANOC, your BNOC, your other schooling that's required for your promotions. Whereas in the civilian world, a lot of time it's like, oh, you know, my buddy John over here, my buddy Ted, you know, needs a job. So I'm going to make him my office manager, even though he's got no experience in this field, and people who've been working this field for 7 to 10 years, you know what, you guys are going to report to him. So, you know, it's not, civilian life is not nearly as structured as military life.
That's what we hear. I hear a lot. I bet Bets on this show and outside talk about that. The structure, you come from that structure, you get used to it. It's a lifestyle. It's something that becomes almost a comfort. It's what you know. And then you get out and you're dealing with people above you and below you who have absolutely no structure in their life, no organization, no understanding of a chain of command. And it then becomes a struggle for the vet. And that's where a lot of veterans want to try to get out and start their own business because they realize corporate world is just not going to change for them. And they don't enjoy the way most corporations are set up from a leadership perspective. So was it difficult doing your own thing once you realized you wanted to do that? Did you use any kind of veteran resources? Did you work with veterans who could help you kind of put your company together? What was that like?
It wasn't there.
Wasn't there.
It wasn't there back then. You know, like even SBA loans, you know, that wasn't a thing until long after I had opened my first company. Nowadays, I would say I have a much easier time, but when I first opened up my first company, and now I have multiple companies that are all successful. Everything from a consulting firm to insurance to a cleaning company to I also have a public adjusting firm. So that I have a licensed individual who runs that company. And I'm also the kind of guy, I like to give hand ups, not hand outs. So for instance, my cleaning company, there was a young lady, she lost her job, ADA violations out the wazoo. And that's American Disability Act. She had a slight disability, and her mom asked me if she could come and interview for an insurance job. I sat down with her, 10 minutes of interviewing her. I knew she wasn't going to be very good at insurance. So I asked her, I said, what can you do? And she goes, well, I can clean. I said, great. I just opened up a cleaning company. You're my partner. And I dropped the funds to open up the cleaning company. And it's been almost 2 years now, and she's successful, and I make a little bit of money off of that. And I told her, hey, by the end of next year, you can buy me out for what I invested into the company to begin with. So, you know, being that leader, there's a lot more to it than just barking orders. You have to have compassion for people. You have to be able to understand your experiences are not the same as other people's experiences. So that's why I've always been on the premise, let's give a hand up, not a hand out, because of the great old saying that, you know, I know you guys have heard it, you know, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Correct. Tell me about, let's transition on the leadership part. Mayor. So politics, that's a whole nother realm of insanity. Sorry. It's just, I do enough on the back end of any kind of political stuff to understand that is a machine that is unlike any other machine. So talk about your why. Why are you running? You obviously know the risks. You know the payoffs, but you know the risks. And I understand you probably have a vision. So what's your why?
Well, I'm not doing it for the money. The mayor of St. Cloud makes $22,000 a year. Okay. A lot of people are like, oh, I figured it'd be like 100 and something thousand. No. 22 grand a year. That's all the mayor of St. Cloud makes. So I make more in my civilian jobs than I will ever make as mayor of St. Cloud. I'm literally doing this because I have a drive to help people obtain their American dream. And St. Cloud has a bad reputation for doing business with businesses. Everything from permitting to length of time it takes for inspections and all this other stuff. And I don't blame staff for any of this, really. I believe this is primarily the fault of past leadership, not keeping code up to date, not keeping policies and procedures up to date, not making it streamlined so that businesses feel like they're welcome into the city. And that's one of the biggest hurdles. You know, St. Cloud is around 10%, maybe a little bit less of commercial. And in order to have a healthy tax base to pay for your utilities, your infrastructure updates, your fire, your police, all that, you need to be between 25 and 35%. So with us being only around 10% right now, I really am striving to go in, work with the city staff and the city manager and the rest of council to revitalize the code, to make it easier for businesses to open, get rid of the red tape, make it so that if you want to open a business, you can do it in a much better time frame than you can now. Because everybody's like, well, we need roads fixed, we need this done, we need that done. There's two ways to do it, and they both involve money. You either sign the back of a check, which means you're cashing it, or you're signing the front of the check, which means you're paying somebody. So by signing the back of the check, that means we're now business friendly and we're able to bring in that taxable revenue, that 7.5% that gets split up between the county, the city, and the state. And then you've got the other option, which is raising taxes, meaning that the population of 67,500 people are now paying the city more in fees and taxes. And I want to avoid that at all costs. So let's break everything down to make it easy for cities and businesses to work together in unison to further develop for the better of all people.
I love it. And I think it's interesting. My experience with anything Osceola County politics is it's just a fascinating little world that you live in and work in out there. A lot of vocal people and a lot of people who really speak their minds. It's much more vocal than I think Orange County for sure. But I love the fact that you want to give back and that you want to change and that you're taking all of your experience from your companies, from the military, and you want to give back. And really, when you are an elected official, you are giving back in some capacity. In most of the capacity, Tony is not paying his bills with $22,000 a year as a mayor. And so this is a definite give back to the community. And you've done that for a long time within St. Cloud and within
I've done a lot of work with multiple nonprofits. A few of them I've already mentioned, like FAVOB and Camaraderie Foundation. One of the bigger nonprofits that I do a ton of work with is A Hero for Kids. They're based around children's literacy and helping our veterans and first responders.
Wait, is A Hero for Kids?
Speaking of the devil.
Did he say A Hero for Kids?
Oh my God, I didn't even set him up for that, John. I don't know what's happening here.
So I don't know how that happened, Ted, but what an amazing room. Enrique, Tony Busby, and the unmatched Ted Bogert in one room.
Look, you go. Look at that outfit. And speaking of A Hero for Kids, Tony, John was my surprise guest. I know you guys are close friends. You do a lot of work for A Hero for Kids. John is also a veteran, has been on the show before, and he's got this drive coming up that I know you're supporting. And then I thought maybe he could give a word or two about how amazing Tony Busby is. But John, you've got me beat in the outfit department. See, you win.
I'm warming up for tonight. I'm warming up for tonight, Ted.
John, this is the first time ever, because every time you see Ted that I've been with you in person, you're like, you always outdress me. One day I'll be able to do it. Today's the day.
You did it, brother. You did it.
I don't know. I'm sitting here in my boxers, so I may not be able. I might not have it 100%. I may get
just
some
don't
points
stand up
right now. But this evening we have an event that we're going to be at together, and I'm going to try to outdress him again. I mean, I went to the Citrus Club in a tuxedo, and Ted outdressed me at the Citrus Club.
That's true.
I
told him all he ever has to do is show up as Batman, Tony.
And I did that one time at the Citrus Club too. And I walk in and the ladies at the desk say, "Oh, you must be here to see Ted." I'm like, how does that happen? You know, you walk in as Batman and you must be here to see
I like
Ted.
your outfit. All right, John. So we're going to talk about Tony, but I want you to talk a little bit about you, a little bit about Hero for Kids since he brought it up and since he's so active, and then a little bit about the drive that you have going on. And then I'd love for you to say some words about Tony.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So as Tony mentioned, as you mentioned, Ted, I'm an Army veteran, infantry. So I was very well trained when I got out of the military on doing whatever. I don't know what I was well trained for, but being in infantry, that's not a highly called for skills unless you go join the mob up in New York or New Jersey.
He was trying to change his socks regularly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I did learn some lessons, some important lessons that involved hygiene. So, you know, it was not time wasted at all, but it was serving the country, which I'd never trade for anything again. And the experiences and as everybody knows, the camaraderie, the folks, the lifetime friends, you know, and then being, you know, getting into that club and being able to hang with folks like Ted and Tony, Enrique, and you know, the whole host of folks, the 2% that actually were there and actually did serve. So that I love. But A Hero for Kids, and all volunteer, nonprofit. None of us get paid. 11, 12 years ago, I formed it. Like 6 years ago, I was forced to go out and get a 501c3 because none of the corporations will talk to you unless you have that piece of paper and you know, the IRS signs off and says you can collect stuff. We do some big drives. We did a back to school event this year in August, which provided over 1,000 backpacks with school supplies to local children. Coming up, we have our Christmas event, and right now we're at 418 children registered.
Wow.
For that. On December 16th, we will distribute gifts to those kids and those families at the Staples Plaza in St. Cloud. It's a drive-through event, which the folks can park, and there will be some vendors there. The Lynx bus, this year we were blessed to be on our logo on the side of the public service bus for Lynx. That's going to be there this year. Several local businesses, you know, Orlando related has been a huge part of this. Eileen and Ted have just been amazing. Eileen's SUV is packed full of Christmas gifts. I got to get those this evening.
Another veteran,
Air Force. Yes. Eileen was the prettiest planes, I always like saying. And Enrique, what branch? I'm sorry.
Navy.
Go Army. We did a pretty good job to you guys this weekend.
Yeah, you did.
That's all I'm saying, brother. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so I mean, it's just been a passion of mine. Like Tony, grew up dirt poor in the Bronx. Graduated from high school, and graduated from DeWitt Clinton High School. And
we're brothers.
Oh, stop it. Alumni brothers. All right.
Veterans, alumni. I love it.
Yeah, that's something. Okay, cool. Enrique, we got to talk off camera, because I could talk about DeWitt Clinton for a month. But that was like, but my neighborhood was terrible. Graduated from high school. 2 months later, I was in the Army, in the infantry, getting all that good life experience. Back in a time where we didn't have a popular war, now we seem to, the media spins all of our conflicts and makes them popular until we exit incorrectly. But I won't get into the politics of it. But
that's subject. That's Tony's job.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about Tony, so do you mind if I switch from
Please focus on Tony.
So Tony is very humble in the fact that he doesn't tell you what all he does for the community in the background. Tony doesn't want medals. He doesn't want awards. He doesn't, although he was our Veteran of the Year at our gala, which is coming up on January 20th, right, Ted? Ted has a table at the gala. But Tony was voted by the community. So unlike a lot of organizations that give awards to each other and slap each other on the back, we allowed the community to pick our heroes that we recognize at our gala. And our gala is not a big moneymaker. This is our 5th one out of 4. We made money on 2 and lost money on 2. But I didn't consider it a loss because we accomplished the mission. Our mission is to recognize the unsung heroes. So it's Heroes Without Capes Gala, and it's just community members coming together, having a great time, dancing, drinking, more drinking and some more dancing, and it's just a great time. But Tony does a ton for the community, does it quietly. I call him an undercover hero. If you didn't. But when you push Tony, he'll talk about it because it's his passion also, is helping people. But like that young lady, I know that young lady that he's talking about for the cleaning company that he started. And she was a lost soul, truly. Didn't know where the next paycheck was coming from, didn't know how to pay her bills, didn't know, was really lost. And along comes Tony, or she comes to Tony, or whatever happened, but Tony gave her an opportunity that she has embraced, and she's doing an amazing thing. So one less person that needs help.
It's the hand up, right, Tony?
Yeah, hand up. Exactly. So I can't sing Tony's praises enough because it'll sound like, I'm trying to marry him or something. But Tony is just absolutely one of those far and few between human beings that I am absolutely proud to call friend, absolutely proud as a fellow Army veteran. No slam, Enrique. And just proud to be in the same room with him a lot.
So thank you, John, for that. And we will have the link to John's charity, the event that he has going on, because you can still donate. But I did not plan that. I planned for John to come on and surprise you, Tony. But your timing on that was just beautiful.
Perfect. Yeah, that definitely was not planned. I was just talking about some of the nonprofits I work with.
I didn't even call or text Tony this morning because I was afraid it was going to slip out. Because even without,
it's always good when you have leaders who support each other, and you're in the throes of Osceola County as well, John, and so all the things that Tony is up against, all the changes that he wants to make, and his reason why. Tony, talk about, can people still get involved in your mayoral campaign?
Yes, absolutely. We're always looking for volunteers. We're going to start doing some door knocking in January, and that's going to continue on through the entire race. And, you know, if you don't live in St. Cloud, but you have a business in St. Cloud, a lot of those business owners have approached me and said, I don't have a voice. And I looked at them, I said, listen, if I get elected, or I should say rather, when I get elected, you will have a voice. I am going to advocate for every single business, no matter how big or how small. I want to improve on how the current businesses are being treated, and you know, I want to try to push for more federal money for grants for our businesses. Like I said, cut the red tape. Let's make it super easy, and let's also entice new talent to come in and help open up some businesses as well. And I'm not talking just chain restaurants or big box stores. I'm talking quality jobs that will turn around, where people want to stay for their entire career and then come out and retire and have something at the end of the day. And a lot of people think you got to be a Fortune 500 company for that. You really don't. I'm a small business, you know, and every year my staff gets a good Christmas bonus. You know, whether you've been with me a day or whether you've been with me for years, I make sure everybody gets their Thanksgiving turkey and Christmas ham paid for by myself. And, you know, again, it's just being a good, decent human being. I mean, like my wife said in on the kickoff speech, I'm going to tell you how it is, whether you like it or not, and I'm going to tell the truth even when it's hard. However, an F-bomb may or may not be dropped on occasion.
In politics, I don't know how you couldn't. It's just crazy out there. It's a crazy world. I just say kudos to you, just because I've been on the back end of a lot of political campaigns. And I just know the amount of work and the amount of sacrifice that goes in when you run. And it's not just your sacrifice, it's your family, it's your friends, it's your colleagues. Everybody's making an ultimate sacrifice to make a difference. And that's what you obviously want to do. And I know you will do. So, all right, Tony, tell them the best way they can find out about you and find out about the mayoral campaign so they can get involved.
Well, there's best way to find out about me is, I mean, if you really want to call me, my cell phone's 321-412-0372. I'm an open book. I do not have a voicemail. So if I do not answer, shoot me a text message. I will call you back as soon as I'm done with whatever I'm doing. John can attest to that. You can email me at tony@tonybusby.net or look me up at tonybusby.net. I also have a campaign page on Facebook that you can reach me at. And on the website, there is a link to donate. You know, I understand times are tough and they're hard. Bidenomics is not working. Okay. And, you know, I mean, I try to stay away from national politics, but everybody's feeling the suffering, especially this year with inflation. So, I mean, we'll take donations, everything. I had a gentleman give me a $1 donation. I'm good with that. If that's what you can give, that's what you can give. Maximum is 1,000. If you can give 1,000, I'll be more than happy to take it. But I tell people, if you can afford $25, that's 5 yard signs.
That's right. All right. How about you, John? How can they find you, my friend?
So you can find A Hero for Kids at aheroforkids.org. You can email me at john@aheroforkids.org. And I do have a voicemail, but the other two are the best way to get to me.
And last but not least, Enrique, how can they find you?
Yeah, you're welcome to look me up on LinkedIn, which is typically where I'm staying at, or go to triadleadershipsolutions.com.
You guys can always call me. You know how to find me anyway, 407-810-5670. We love our veterans. If you are a veteran who would like to come on and share your journey, you are doing something in the community, you want to learn more, you're a resource, we'd love to have you on the show. Just reach out to me or Enrique. Thank you three for serving our country. You know how much I appreciate that. And you all have a great one. Get out and vote. Get out and get involved. Get out and support the community. Get out and be led by Enrique and Triad Leadership Solutions. And then, you know me, I'm all about loans. We'll see you guys
Ted,
soon.
Before you make us go, I just want to thank you for backing our veteran community. You have a very strong voice in this community, and people listen to what you have to say and what you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you're going to make me cry, Tony. Thank you very much. I have a heart for vets. I just want to do everything I possibly can to help you all out. So thank you guys so much. We'll see everybody soon. That's my dog barking. Talk to you later. God bless everybody.